now called Oregon Energy in southeastern Oregon. 10 hours after I broadcasted, Hillary Clinton had taken in upwards of $140 million to the Clinton Foundation. Loretta Lynch signed off on my arrest warrant, and I was held as a political prisoner for 619 days. The Department of Interior and this cabal that is controlling the mechanisms to seize land in Maui, what they have effectively done is seized the second most expensive land in the entire world. This is a fact. London, per square inch, is worth more than what they just did in Lahaina. In Lahaina, they couldn't get a hold of that land. Why? Because of the natives. For hundreds, thousands of years, the heritage, the local residents would not let these developers and the government and Hillary Clinton's people and Obama, and they kept them out and said, no, we have heritage here. You cannot mess with our land. And they certainly did. And within a matter of days, they wiped it out. Everyone's gone. They were out in the water trying to save themselves. But they knew in advance what they were going to do, and I'm going to prove the case here. So we're going to lay out a case here, and I want you to click the link down below, watch the full episode. Because I'm going to make a case here with signed documents, okay, that I have, that they knew what they were doing. They did. They knew in July exactly what they were going to do. And I have it documented with a signed emergency declaration. Let's now go to John Bound, who's done an absolutely exceptional job of laying it out here with some anomalies. John Bound's report is important. Now that timeline, okay, gives you a better perspective. And if you got the CIA and John Brennan has you all focused on, space beams that don't matter. It could be a bit glider space beams. The weather is what matters, does it not? Did that timeline show that the weather had a significant impact on how that fire spread? Yes or no?
It absolutely did. And I know this is probably unpopular, but you have to look at where they say it started. The wind was, they had a little wind, right? But it started on the 7th, Pete, and they see the explosion and they don't warn the people. That's the thing.
That's right. That's right. They see the explosion. Now, here's the next thing. And by the way, if you catch this clip, click the link down below. Watch the whole thing, because I just made a case that it's not a conspiracy theory. In this episode, we will let you listen to the CIA director, John Brennan, say that he can control the weather. The U.S. government can do that. So the U.S. government can control the weather. Now, another thing is that the Weather Service put out warnings, did they not, about the weather?
In advance, days in advance. You got to give them credit for that. They told everybody that the winds were coming and it was going to pick up. And
we're going to continue. We're going to continue. Click the link down below so you can see the whole thread. Okay. Now, so let's do a review. We have a timeline. We have a point of emphasis that the weather had a significant impact. We had weather reports in advance. Okay. We had a government that signed an emergency declaration that said that in the event of a natural disaster, okay, in the event of a natural disaster, that the government could come in, suspend all laws, right, and seize the land. And it just so happens that land, ladies and gentlemen, and most Americans don't care about their land. They don't care about the Department of Interior. They don't care that the Bureau of Land Management and the Fish and Wildlife Service carry AR-15s, that if you expose their scam of extracting wealth out of the $167 trillion in natural resources here in continental United States, if you don't care about paying attention to all of that, you're not going to care about how they seize the second most expensive land in the world, to London by square inch. This is a fact. They did it through weather modification, okay? And Alex Jones is right. It doesn't matter if it's space beams. It doesn't matter if it's a bit lighter. What matters is that the governor signed an emergency declaration on July 17th, setting the stage for the seizure of the land. Now, they sent out weather service warnings. They knew about the weather and how it was going to be. No alerts were sent out. Now let's go to the next one. Clip. Okay. Again, we're going to get to this point. You're going to come back, watch the full episode because you're going to see this. I'm just reviewing. July 17th, Joshua Green, who is an expert legislatively on how to get the appropriate laws put in place. How do I know this? Because I dug into his background. Okay. He was a legislator. Did you know that? He was a member in Congress that served as a majority whip. Okay. He served in the Hawaii legislature, the Hawaii State Senate, the Hawaii State House of Representatives, right? He worked in government as a legislator to do what? He was a former member of the Hawaiian Affairs Committee, Hawaiian State Senate, House Committee, Hawaiian State Senate, Human Services Committee, the Tourism and International Affairs, and his goal was to create more affordable housing. His goal, stated goal, in the coming years, I plan to work to improve opportunities for all the people in Hawaii. We need better employment options to keep our children in Hawaii, and housing must become more affordable, and we have to finally address the crisisness of homelessness, drug addiction. So his stated goal was to create more affordable housing. And then he signed on July 17th, weeks before this scenario in Hawaii, an emergency declaration suspending all laws in the event of a natural disaster. Okay? And this is what happened. The government sent children home. The parents were working, and the government sent the children home. Weather alerts were sent out. They knew the weather was going to be very, very dramatic.
Well, which is why the schools were shut down because of the wind alerts, right?
That's right. And none of the sirens were activated that would have caused the parents to go home. Okay? This was not a mistake. This was, ladies and gentlemen, I'm laying out a case here that this was pre-planned, and I have documented proof of it. It was pre-planned, and you're going to see this. No sirens were activated. Children were sent home. The weather was modified. And here is the emergency declaration right there, okay? Now, I'm going to play some excerpts, ladies and gentlemen. Not only do we have a case where the governor signed this emergency declaration that you're about to see, suspending all laws. Jeremy, stay right there, Jeremy. Suspending all laws, okay? And you're going to see what those laws were pertaining to. Suspending the laws on July 17th, signing an emergency declaration. The sirens were not activated. The children were sent home. The capability of modifying the weather, okay? In advance, Oprah Winfrey bought 800 acres on the second most expensive land in the entire world. And then on top of that, when the people tried to escape, guess what they did? They blocked them. They prevented them from leaving. The police stopped them. Vehicles were turned around back into the fire, and people jumped into the water. These are facts, ladies and gentlemen. Click the link down below. We're going to make the case. Jeremy is on the line. Very quickly, Jeremy, I got a lot of stuff to cover here.
Oh, well, you didn't have to take my call. I just wanted to weigh in quickly because I, not necessarily with the cause and everything around the fire, but the conditions around Hawaii, because before COVID, I lived there for about 4 months while I was working. And I can tell you, because I think a lot of people look at it and they think it's opulent and very, it's a resort and a destination. Poverty there is massive. Drug addiction is massive. And that area around Lahaina Actually, it is, yeah, there's a lot of touristy. It's very OG, but there's an enormous amount of people that are fairly lower middle class at best.
Mm-hmm.
The whole island is like you have definitely the haves and have not. There's not a explosive middle class. And I mean, even if you go somewhere like Waikiki and you go just a couple minutes out of Waikiki, out of the opulent touristy area, you go into and you feel like you're driving through Compton, or think of a bad area of Cleveland. And so with that said, though, that has made a culture of incredibly resilient, tough people. You do not mess with Hawaiian people.
That's
and
right.
They don't take it, and that's why I say the conditions that are happening right now it's TikTok, because they will reach critical mass, and you are going to see blowback like probably we've never seen in American history from a local municipality.
That's right. Let me continue on. Thank you, Jeremy. Great point, because
Okay.
Ivory
Jeremy.
Hecker also described the circumstances. The people in this community, by the way, you see, this is why they've run the ranchers off the land. Okay, this is why they ran Dwight Hammond off the land. Why? Because they wanted their water, they wanted the uranium, they wanted the lithium. When the environmentalists, the Department of Interior, said we need to protect the land, we need to preserve the pelican, we need to do all this stuff, when in fact what they were doing in the back room was cutting deals for the water. That Uranium One set up shop out there to extract the uranium on behalf of the Russians, and Hillary Clinton got caught taking $140 million. Okay? So they want that land. It's the second most expensive land in the entire world. They got to get those drug addicts out of there. They got to get those stupid, ritualistic people that are more concerned about their stupid heritage off of that land. And that's why the governor said on July 17th in an emergency declaration that in the event of a natural disaster, he will suspend all laws and allow developers to come in and rebuild. They wanted the death, set the stage for the death. They signed an emergency declaration on July 17th and then activated John Brennan's weather modification machine after they started setting the fires with either a Bic lighter or a space beam, or it doesn't matter what they used. The ignition device is secondary to the weather conditions that were needed in order for them to get the natural disaster to basically activate the law that the governor signed on July 17th in this emergency declaration. Now let's make one more point here, okay? Now we're going to make one more point, and go back, make sure you click the link, follow the entire timeline. There's a lot of information to cover here, okay? Not only